Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. And before we get started, I just want to say real quick, we're doing this over Skype as usual. And I didn't really get a good look at the Spencer has a blanket tarped over the back of his chair.
Oh, yeah.
And when he left for a second, because I went to go grab something to drink, he left for a second. And as I was looking, he was sitting back down, and I just saw these two like really creepy looking, I don't know, these two creepy looking children behind him. And I was kind of like, Spencer, behind you, you know, but it just kind of like, because they actually look like they're standing right there. Are they like, is it like a Christmas blanket or something?
It's like
two
a Christmas, like, Jesus blanket
Carol
or something.
or
Yeah,
something.
carols and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, it looked very, yeah, it looked, I don't know, I couldn't, there was no cross on it. There was no cross, but it just looked like it's probably a religious blanket because these two children look very creepy and smiley on it.
And it was one of those blankets where my mother's like, here, I found this nice blanket at the shop. Here, you can have it. Oh, okay. Cover that chair. The chair's actually creepier looking than the fucking blanket.
The chair is creepier. Is it like a macabre like chair out of like a old like 1930s dentist chair or something?
No, not that bad. It's just all old and wooden and worn out, and it doesn't look very good underneath. But the blanket makes it look brand new and nice.
Ah, how about that? Okay. I guess, yeah. I was just kind of scared, like there's children behind you.
Watch out. Oh, there's shit on their faces. Oh, take that, children.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now?
Yeah, I don't think you want to say sitting on children's faces on the internet. They probably have like NSA. That's probably like a phrase NSA like probably zooms in on.
They're not really children. They're angels.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that makes it okay. Fuck angels. They don't got rights in this country.
Angels aren't respected here.
Yeah.
They're sent to gulags.
Gulags.
Sorry, I was looking at the depth there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't fucking drink that. Don't hold it up to the camera. I can't fucking drink that.
Dude, I got this Arnold Palmer. It was fucking buy one, get one free. And I hadn't had an Arnold Palmer forever.
I haven't had one.
I was too poor to buy anything more fancier than that, so I was like, fuck it. Buy one, get one free.
I was having the knockoff, the Caddy Shacky.
Oh, yeah. Also,
because it couldn't afford his likeness.
I remember when those Arnold Palmers first came out, though, and I saw them in stores. I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. These things will probably only be here in like a month. And lo and behold, fucking 10 years later, they're still here.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, maybe not.
I'd rather not think about it.
I'll say this. It's probably not that far off. It was probably like 2005 or 6.
I really don't want to think about that. Damn.
You want to know what made me feel old? Okay.
What?
Because I was listening to this other podcast, Retro Asylum, and they're talking about Sega, and they started talking a lot about Daytona USA. I'm like, fuck, man, I haven't played Daytona USA forever. I'm like, I think I got it on Dreamcast. So I go upstairs, and I look through. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have it. And I was playing it, and when the game starts up, it says fucking 1994, and I was like, holy fuck, that game was 1994. I was thinking like 97 or something.
Was it a port or something like that? Dreamcast wasn't out.
Remember Daytona USA?
Yeah, it was an arcade game.
Yeah, it was the arcade game, and it was like one of the first ones that have like really fucking good graphics, and I want to say almost like the chairs vibrate if you had a good one.
Was this the one that had like the little keychain of Sonic dangling from the rearview mirror?
Not that game, but it's the one where when you're driving by up in the mountain, there's like a carving of Sonic up in there.
Oh, okay, all right.
There's still Sonic, but yeah.
Well, that was like the thing when you're a kid. I don't know about if it worked on all kids. Maybe I was just obsessive that way, but it would be kind of like, why the fuck would I want to play Nintendo Tennis? Oh, Mario's the referee. Okay,
I'm there.
Yeah, he's there. You know, it's like he's always the referee in all those games. So, okay, that's a reason. Mario was the umpire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Sonic. Oh, there's a keychain of him just dangling there. It doesn't actually do anything, but he's there. So reason enough to play it for a little while.
But Daytona USA, it's like that was that kind of game was pretty much NASCAR like Japanese amped up though.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, there wasn't like anything. There wasn't like power-ups or anything like that. But
no burnout or nothing like that.
No, I mean it was one of those kind of games. It was kind of when Sega was releasing all those 3D games. So that came out. Virtua Fighter came out.
Well, for a while, Sega was really priding themselves on all their like sports titles. They had like a special division, Sega Sports. That's all kind of gone now. But
one of the reasons,
as far as I know.
Speaking of Sega Sports, this happened with like the football franchise where Madden got the rights that nobody else could make a football game.
Yeah, EA.
And I was like, that's fucking stupid.
EA.
I was like, and that was pretty much the last time I ever played like Sega Sports.
Mm-hmm. And then there was like, I remember because they had like, remember they had multiple NFL games. There was like Blitz, and they came out like Blitz the League. This one we gave it a dark, edgy story where you can make your guys take steroids, and there's like controversy in football,
Well, the
So you're like,
Blitz is
okay.
made by EA, so that still is like a Madden title, I guess
Oh
you'd
well,
say.
fuck that
Yeah,
then. Okay.
that's all EA. No. It's everybody else. It was Sega that got fucked. It was because there was a time period where you literally had your choice on what kind of football game you wanted.
Well, I guess the only kind of football game you could have now is just basically like some kind of like like some kind of video, like something like I don't know, like a Mario type spinoff or like Mega Man spinoff or something like around those lines of just like, oh, we have made up teams.
Like
Like who
any
gives a
given
shit about
Sunday or
that?
something.
Yeah, like any given Sunday. I mean I like that movie, but that I guess that is one of those things. Like I guess the fact that I mean I understand why, I really understand why, but the fact they're all made up teams kind of threw me off, and I was kind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's like
I understand why. I totally understand
because you
why. I'm
can't
not
have,
dogging the movie down.
fucking, the dolphins
They're not
out
gonna
there
let you.
snorting cocaine off like hookers' tits.
Yeah, you can't have that. You're not gonna have because they're basically supposed to be the Dolphins. They're in Miami, weren't they?
I think something like that. I've only seen that movie once.
It's a good movie,
Yeah,
but
I
the thing
liked it.
it's a good movie, but I will say that is kind of like Oliver Stone, just like, no, we understand. We understand some metaphor. We understand some metaphor. You don't really got to show while they're arguing pictures of Spartacus while they're arguing.
Oh, I remember that. It's like we get it, but
It's like no. The people in football, they got to work hard, they got to train hard, but they are not gladiators of our time because those guys were enslaved. These guys are getting millions. Let's
yeah,
not confuse it here.
exactly. Those gladiators weren't sniffing cocaine off hookers' tits.
Yeah. Well, it probably
You
would
can
have been
fucking
more.
ask Russell Crowe.
Yeah. He knows. He was there.
Yeah, he
That shit
survived
was
the
a doc.
gladiator times.
That shit was a documentary, just like Noah.
Ridley Scott went back in time to film that thing.
Actually, I still haven't seen Noah. I want to see it. I mean, I'm not a religious person. I just want to see it because it's Darren Aronofsky and Russell Crowe.
Well, I will say, I'm not a religious person either, but I like religion movies. Strangely enough, I don't know why.
Yeah,
There's
same
something
here.
about them. They're interesting. Well, because here's the thing: they're good stories, and if you just
They
take them
are.
at face value for what they are, then they're fine. It's when you start believing in it, then you're fucked up.
Well, I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I know some religious people that are actually pretty level-headed and pretty smart. It's more of just when the second you start, the thing we've talked about a million times, everybody else talked about a million times, just gay rights and all that shit. Like, what would Jesus want? It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. All that bullshit we've been hearing forever. So that's kind of the only place where I draw a line. If they want to believe everything else, go ahead, But it's just that's where I kind of draw a line is when you actually start being bigoted towards other people just by this old ass book. But as far
But
as
if
like
you read, it has literally nothing of that in there. That's my favorite part about it.
yeah, that is something that well I want to say isn't there somewhere in there, is that like something someone made up? I thought there is somewhere in there it does say like homosexuality is a sin or
No,
something like
it never
that.
says that in there. It does say, I think, in there, like marriage between a man and a woman, but it doesn't say like that's the only way. I think people do that stupid thing where they take things very literally or
Yeah.
literary.
Well, there is a science group out there. I don't remember what they're called. But there is a science group, science in air quotes, that believes the world is still flat because the Bible said nothing about it being round. So, well, the Bible never spoke of that.
Well,
So,
first and foremost, if you mix science with religion, there's no science anymore.
yeah,
Religion is kind of it's like magic, It's kind of like believing in Final Fantasy or believing in fucking Magic the Gathering.
I understand the terms. You don't gotta put in the metaphors for me. I understand the difference
Science is based
between
on like facts, like
science.
Batman. It's like
Like
it's not Superman, it's Batman. Just
I understand evolution.
How real is
I
that? Well,
understand
it's not Superman. I'll tell you that. It's really Batman though. Like it's plausible. If you had the
I guess
money,
dude,
if you had the smarts, if you had the determination, you could probably do it.
you could find a dude dressed like a clown and kick the shit out of him.
You see it all the time at the circus.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you could go find, if you got a thing against punctuation, you can go find a guy dressed as question marks and beat the shit out of him too.
And also, if you got a thing against capitalism and fat people, you can go find a lot of those guys too.
Yeah. Make sure he's wearing a monocle and carries an umbrella though.
And has penguins as friends. That's the sign
You
you know
start
you found
working
the
your
right
way,
guy.
you start working your way down, like to like the more like obscure villains, like Hush. Like, well, if you hate burn victims, just go into.
And then if you really just have a thing against like people in cat fetishes, we know you can find that too.
At furry conventions and shit. See, Batman can be real.
And then, well, there's a whole lot of hippies out there that you could take out too that are worshiping plants. See, that'd be a good story in itself. Some guy that just goes kind of crazy, and he just gets obsessed with Batman, but he's all mental and shit. And he just keeps he's almost like Don Quixote. Anybody sees all these other people and thinks of them as being Batman villains, yet they're just what we're saying, burn victims and capitalists and like hippies.
So he goes like in the Conservatory of Flowers or something like that, starts kicking the shit out of everybody. Like, there's poison ivies everywhere.
he's just like, there's a red-haired lady up there. It's poison ivy, and then everybody else, that's her minions.
Yeah.
He's at like a Burning Man concert.
It's Firefly. He just sees an Arab guy, Ra's al Ghul. That's all he has to go off of for that one.
There's a guy that's like tinkering with some old clocks. It's Clock Man.
Yeah, just some old man just tinkering like in his workshop.
Yeah, he just like
just jumps through the glass.
Starts breaking all his clocks. When was the last time you saw a place that like just sold a bunch of clocks?
Not in a long. You know what? I don't know if they just sold clocks. I know there was a place in Sonora. I know it was at least one of their businesses where they would fix watches and clocks, but I think they also sold antiques. I think it was like a double business. I can't think of the last one where that's just all they sold.
Yeah, there's a Clocks R Us.
Like I can only imagine how shitty it must be. I mean, I'm sure they have it all off switch, but I mean, maybe not. Like every 30 minutes, have them all go like ding dong ding dong. She's all like going off like, fuck, here it comes, ding dong ding, just so loud.
But those kind of people, I think they really enjoy that part. It's almost like I think they live in silence, and then all of a sudden, it's you get all that. Well, I guess not silence because you always hear the tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Well, after it, I'm guessing. I'm not guessing. That's just something they just like. You know what? I want to run a clock store. Someone at some point in time had said that. That had got passed on to him. Like, well, my father worked in a clock store. His father's father worked in a clock store, and his father's father worked in a clock store. So. It's mine. I've grown up with this shit since I was a kid, and here it comes. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
See that, or there's some secret union of clockmakers where, like, right at like that hour, every single time when that sound goes off, they all whip out their dicks and just start beating it in unison. It's the unspoken like rule of the clock shop.
It's the degreaser that keeps the clock's gears going.
And at some point, some kid gets his bright idea. He's like, I'm going to fuck that clock. Second that bird comes out, I'm going to fuck the clock.
I don't really have a response.
I thought you'd be like, I actually never have tried to fuck a clock before, but...
I know we usually kind of at some point fit in a joke about like, someone jerking off or someone fucking an inanimate object. Usually we did, but I really have no idea how we just go like, is that clock? I'm gonna fuck that over there. I got nothing clever for that. I'm like, okay.
He did it.
There's got to be someone out there by this point.
Give that man an applause.
Yeah. Good for you. You reached your goal. You gone and you fucked that inanimate object. Good for you.
Speaking of that,
I guess it would take skill though, because the bird pops out. You have to do it before the door slams in without getting your dick cut off or something. So
without getting sucked back in with it, fucking Tron style and shit.
Oh, that's how Mario gets to the TikTok clock world in Mario 64. The bird pulls it in.
It'd be scary, just like you're walking along, all of a sudden this bird flies out and grabs you, sucks you in. Next thing you know, you're in TikTok clock.
This is the. That sounds like some weird pitch to some shitty 90s movie. This kid gets sucked inside of a clock world. How's he do it? Well,
he was trying to fuck it.
I know you're not gonna like it at first, but just hear me out. One day he's left alone in his grandfather's clock shop. No one's around. He's asked to judge. He hates clocks.
He's been growing up with them since day one.
Yeah, since day one. A clock fell on him as a child. So since then he's hated clocks. And his grandfather leaves him alone. So there's this most treasured grandfather clock in the corner. He says, you know what? I'm gonna fuck his grandfather. I'm gonna fuck grandpa's grandfather clock. That's what I'm gonna do. Next thing you know, stop. Leave the office. No, no, no. You haven't
No,
got
you haven't got the next part. It's a kid's movie after this.
Well, get the fuck out. I'm done. I'm done. No, no. Just hear it out. Just hear it out.
Here, you get sucked into a magical world, man. And look at this clocks and pins, and he's climbing across, and he's just getting dragged down. The guy just turns, leans over the other guy in the office. You know what's the worst part about this? This thing seems to happen about once a week. Somebody comes in here with a story where somebody fucks an inanimate object in the very first 10 minutes.
What are you
The
gonna
worst
do?
part, too, is a lot of times it's not the same guy.
They says like, well, that's the thing. That's what happens when you work at Lionsgate.
That's what you gotta deal with on a day-to-day basis. That's why we stopped taking out these scripts, you know? There was a time when people were allowed just to send anything in. Those days are over because of that reason. When a quarter of the script sent in is about a guy fucking an inanimate object in the first 10 minutes and then getting somehow transported to a magical world.
Believe me, you're not the first one to think of this. One was a fish tank. Another was a grapefruit. Another was
the worst part about the fish tank
the original
is that was the original script of Finding Nemo. That was how it started. Really, it had nothing to do with the rest of the script. I think the guy just wanted to see a guy fuck a fish tank in the beginning.
The original script of Page Master was about a kid sticking his dick inside of a bookshelf.
Because the guy wouldn't let him like rent out any more library books.
Macaulay Culkin said he wouldn't do it, so you know.
Strange enough, actually, Macaulay Culkin was actually really into it. It was the director said that no, we're not putting Home Alone kid in here.
Oh come on, man! This is my big.
Come on, man! Like
do something different, something serious.
Yeah, like the fucking Home Alone movies. Yeah, no, not that like that.
This Macaulay Culkin get a chance to be edgy, man. Come on.
When was the last time you watched The Page Master? I think I have it on VHS at my house. I should pull that.
I saw that movie. It didn't age that. I remember walking out of that movie as a kid, and when it was over, just walking out like, I know movies seem short, but I just remember the movie just whizzed by. Like that was really fucking short, and it just kind of. I remember seeing like. It felt kind of empty. It felt kind of like, as a kid, I was looking at it like critiquing it. Like, could have been more. I wasn't so excited with it. I actually watched it probably maybe a year, 2 years ago with my nephew, and still kind of like, whatever.
Just doesn't age that well. I want to say I watched it about 4 years ago, something like that.
The animation I remember being really good, but as far as the movie itself, it was just kind of whatever. But when you're a kid, you just kind of like. I mean, even though I wasn't that blown away with it, I got like the Page Master point-and-click video game, which was the sequel. I mean, the computer game.
Oh, I remember the Page Master game for Super Nintendo being pretty sweet. Played a lot of that.
I had the point-and-click adventure one. That's the one I had, and that was actually I remember it being fun, but yeah.
Well, it's one of those ones. Page Master, I will say, it's a fantastic concept. I'm a big fan. Like, I like my Last Action Hero style movie, and that's kind of what that is. You know, where somebody gets sucked in.
Yeah.
I guess really like the original one, or at least there's probably original ones before that, but one of the big original ones is that Mark Twain one, where it's it's like whatever, a regular Joe in fucking King Arthur's court or something like that. I can't remember what the title is, but there's that book that he wrote where it's about a guy who goes back in time and he's in Knights of the Round. So that's almost like the original kind of like.
Isn't
in
that
modern times, I guess.
Well, isn't that what Disney made, like, I'm not sure the name of it, but Disney made, like, a movie of that, but they took it, like, in modern days rather than Mark Twain days? Is it
a live-action movie?
Live-action movie.
It's not the one that has Martin Lawrence in it, right?
No. Oh, fuck that bullshit. No, that was, like, I like
movie called Black Knight? It was, like...
The most racist thing ever, yeah. No, like, that was, like, No, I mean, I like Martin Lawrence stand-up, and I like him in, like, Bad Boys and all that, but that movie, fuck that movie. That was bad. But no, there's one where it's just, it was the usual setup, like, kids at a baseball game. I don't know. Somehow there's an earthquake. This is what I remember.
Sandlot 3, is it?
It's not Sandlot 3. We're like, all right, Sandlot, we ran out of ideas, so they're not going to space just yet, but they're going back in time.
Listen. The kid, he sticks his dick. Fucking get out of here.
Fuck! He just gets up, walks out of the office. I fucking quit. I quit. I'm fucking done.
Why do they always have to time travel by sticking their dick in something first? The worst part too is it really has nothing to do with the story.
One guy walks in, no, 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 no. Mine, he doesn't time travel by it. He goes to another dimension. It's entirely different. It's like, mine's about a clock. Get the clock guy out of here. Fuck him.
He's just as bad as the guy who's with the kid fucking the DeLorean, and all of a sudden he gets caught in the car and it takes him back to 1955.
I'm so glad we changed it to he stumbled into the DeLorean. I know.
But like, speaking of
I know Zemeckis really wanted that in the original scripts, but I'm surprised Zemeckis.
It was really up to the final draft. That scene was still in there.
Yeah.
But really, that Page Master though, it's like I like that idea though of this kid's able to go into all his stories. Really, what they need to do next with that is they should just take a fucking video game.
I was just thinking that the closest thing
you want to make a modern one, do that.
The closest thing wasn't, as we said a million times, it wasn't, and we won't go into detail of why, but the closest thing we had to that was Wreck-It Ralph. Maybe just do a good one and just have like actual video game properties.
Does anybody go actually into the game though in that?
Well, he's jumping from game to game.
Yeah, he jumps from game to game, but there's not like there's no live action character that goes into the game, right? It's just the arcade, just like.
No. I still think. I mean, you could totally take that kind of like. You could take that concept of just being the average Joe going in, but I mean the idea of like, oh, it could have been like, him. I wasn't expecting that movie, him to go to the Mushroom Kingdom or anything like that. But you could almost, if you can get the rights, have him go to like to different have like the main character just jump to different worlds from video games. I mean, it can be PG-13, whatever. It doesn't have to be an R-rated movie.
Before we sound too stupid, I'll say this. Actually, there's Tron, but.
Oh, Tron. Oh, yeah.
I guess that's what it was before. Like this, like, oh yeah, they still have video games. Like, oh, I guess there was one for the longest time, and then there was a sequel. Oh yeah. But no, it'd be something cool. Like it was like if you actually were able to use licensed fucking property.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh fuck, he's gonna go into like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario and Zelda and.
If they're not going into license,
making a Nintendo movie.
If we're taking licensed stuff out of it, then you got like a bunch of movies that have done that. There's been horror films about that. There's that. Did you play it? I know John Tron made a video of it, but did you? I thought maybe you had this game by chance on like a ROM or something. I think it's called Dinotopia or something, and it's almost kind of like a.
What's it for?
It's for Super Nintendo. There was actually a made-for-TV movie of it. It was so fucking stupid. We have these kids that, I don't know, they somehow fiddle with a remote and they get sucked into the TV and go into this cartoon about dinosaurs. And when they go there, it's all live action, but it's a cartoon in their world. And
dinosaurs are live action?
Everything's live action, yeah. It's like you're watching.
It's the opposite, where like they go from a cartoon to.
Well, they're watching they're watching a cartoon, but when they get sucked in, it's live action. The movie itself is all.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So what happens is these kids, I think there are 3 or 4 of them. They get sucked in and they have the controller with them, and the controller is able to stop time and rewind, kind of like Prince of Persia. And they had a video game based on it. I don't know which one came first. I'm assuming it's the video game or the movie came first.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I want to say that the name is even different, but it's like Dino City or Dinotopia, something like that. And at some point, like in the video game, they're trying to rip off like Mario World because it was like the kids were riding on the dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. You could hop for a place where the dinosaurs couldn't fit. The kids could hop off and kind of run around. They're a lot weaker though, but they can go in places where the dinosaurs couldn't fit. So,
I'm surprised I never played that game because I would have played anything that had dinosaurs on it if it's for Super Nintendo.
And the bad guys were caveman. Dinosaurs were the good guys. Bad guys were cavemen.
And I want to say I play because pretty much I see the word dino, I'm like, I'm there. Fucking it. There's not enough of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I always think it's like one's like, fucking Capcom's got to make another Dino Crisis. I don't know how many times I can say this, but
So get this. A caveman sticks his dick inside of a dinosaur and goes into the future. That doesn't even make any logical fucking sense in the first place.
No, you don't get it, man. Like the fucking dinosaur, it's a time warp. And only one man fucks dinosaurs.
Sounds like a lost episode of Doctor Who.
And he's just like, whoa. First off, caveman, dinosaurs, let's get that straight. He's like, man, I fucking read the Bible. They were all there. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Please. That really nice shout out from Arnold News last week. I doubt they're ever going to shout us out again after hearing if they listen to this one.
I know. We got like multiple shout outs on that show.
Yeah, which is really awesome of them. But yeah,
Probably because I was just
Ar-
advertising their stuff.
Arnold
I
Radio.
literally put an advertisement for our Expendables one right next to theirs, like bloop, right on our blog, and it was just like, there we go. It was like, get all the Expendables you want. Some have a
Arnold
dick
Radio.
joke in it. The other ones I have actual interviews.
Arnold Radio News Network. Yeah, they gave us a really nice shout out last week on their show, and now here we are, just like guy sticks his dick in this, and guy sticks his dick in that. Remember Any Given Sunday? Yeah. Anyway, dick.
That's really what it's been. It's just been like dick time travel, and then like, oh, dude, you remember that movie? That movie was fucking sweet.
Yeah. No, but this movie, it wasn't that sweet. It was actually kind of dumb, but there might be some nostalgia if I watched it again. But yeah.
Well, there's always,
So
you get the nostalgia factor, which is always kind of good, but I don't know. You know what I've actually been watching recently, and I picked it up like a while ago for like $2, brand new. It was, even though it's like random, it's like season 4 of the second Ninja Turtles animated series, the one that they did like in 2000s.
how is that?
Or it was.
Well, you just said it was good. You just said it was good, right?
It's actually, well, it's one of those ones like when it came out. Once again, going back to an older topic, it was at the point when I was just it was one that's kind of like new Ninja Turtles. It was like they're all new looking and edgy and whatnot. And that was also the point too where I was like, I was progressing into anime. And now when I keep thinking back on it, it's like, boy, when I started watching anime, I really fucking pushed cartoons out of my life, like, or American style cartoons out of my life for a period. I've come back to like recapture it, but like, I just remember like once I started anime, that was it. It was like, I remember Justice League coming out, and it was like, well, it's not Batman, so I guess I'll just like go back to watching Full Metal Alchemist. And like all those shows, and I don't know if there's just like, sometimes there is that weird period when you are kind of like in high school and you're like, well, I can't be caught watching cartoons, but I can watch anime. That's okay.
Yeah.
They
won't judge me as harshly for that.
Cartoons might be a step backwards. And then when you get older, you're like, fuck, dude, I'm just going to watch cartoons like all the time because that's what I like the most. But no, that Ninja Turtles show, it literally kind of came out once I kind of stopped watching. I guess you could say Saturday morning, and I started progressing into. This might have been by the time Adult Swim came out. I'm just going to say Adult Swim. It might not have been there yet, but that was about the step into it. But I want to say it was out during the same time Pokemon and.
I want to say Adult Swim came out like when I was in I want to say the 7th or 8th grade is when the first run of Adult Swim came out that I was aware of.
But whatever, let's just say the Ninja Turtles show ran around that same ballpark time. So I've been watching it, and it's I will say this, the original show is definitely, it's just a classic. No matter what, you can't really replace that song, and I just like the way that things look at it and whatnot, but story-wise and everything else, the show plays so much better. And
I'll say this.
It's something I've never really watched. I don't know why I never have. I always said I was going to someday pick it up and watch it. And, lo and behold, 6 months ago, I picked it up for $2.
I know the original Turtle show. I mean, I remember that was my favorite show, and I remember the characters, and I remember moments, but if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't really tell you a full episode, really. I couldn't really tell you a full episode. I remember Shredder comes, Shredder gets some kind of monster, the monster, or something from Dimension X or whatever, and then the turtles stop it with the help of April and her Velma looking friend.
And the Velma, like the 90s, or I guess like the late 80s Velma.
Yeah, and that's all I could really remember. I remember there was one where they had like, I can't really tell you full episodes. I remember certain characters, but I cannot tell you a full episode to save my life.
Well,
I just remember Shredder would always go to Dimension X and get something, and then the turtles would stop him. Most of my real good memories come from the movies by this point.
Well, I'll say this. I was on kind of like, maybe around 6 months ago plus, I was on kind of like the old Ninja Turtles marathon. I was watching a bunch of them off Netflix. In that first season, it's like 5 or 6 episodes long. If you just watch that one season by itself, that one's so perfect. It's like, because those are the episodes I was used to, because I used to have like those VHS copies, and I had about 3 of them. And then I used to rent the rest of them that I didn't have back in the day. So those are the ones I've seen so many times. And each one of those episodes on that first season are like, perfect. They all play. It's kind of like it's a little story arc through all of them where, the Turtles, the origin, Shredder comes, they battle, you see Dimension X, blah, blah, blah. They kind of defeat Shredder, and it's almost like a complete, perfect for like a movie, back in the day when they used to edit all that stuff together. And then and then I watched season 2 and season 3, and I kind of stopped about season 3 because the downfall of that old show, it has that similar problem that a lot of older shows happen where literally every episode is pretty much the same thing. Oh, the Turtles battle Shredder. every episode. You know, just in different places. Okay, they're in New York this time. Okay, they're in the sewer this time. Okay, they're battling in a pizza place this time. Okay, they're in Dimension X this time. But it's all they're always battling Shredder. Kind of the same thing over. Now, I think when that show progresses, because that thing has like 9 seasons, it gets farther into it. But I got kind of burnt out just because it was almost like I came to the conclusion those VHS copies I have, those 3 of them that have 2 episodes each, almost just watching those over again gives me my Ninja Turtles fix. But now this new show, I mean, I just started off in season 4 because that was what was available. And I was like, fuck, it's Ninja Turtles. I'll understand what's going on. Well, already in season 4, there's no fucking Shredder in it. He's already dead or whatnot. His fucking kid is now taking over for him. The girl, you know, that's... I can't remember what her name is, but you've seen her before. Did your thing freeze?
Karai?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And there, the Skype podcast ends once again. Now, doing these Skype podcasts, it's one of those ones. It's sort of like watching somebody else's child. You really got to pay attention to it. You know, you get into the conversation, you almost forget that you're on the podcast. You forget the microphone's there, so you don't think anything of it. But the next thing you know, that fucking kid goes and pulls a bunch of wires, and all hell's broken loose, and now your show's gone. And that's pretty much what happened here. Learned that, you know, if one little error happens, might as well fucking check the recording. Just because it says it's recording, that doesn't always mean it is recording. So lost about an hour and a half, you know, those things happen, but at least there was a good, half an hour or so of comedy. But tune in next week. Hopefully the same problem won't happen again. You know, it seems like I solve each little problem, you know, time to time, but, you know, next thing that happens, there's a new problem, and every couple episodes or so, I'm finding new problems with Skype and then solving that problem. But, you know, in the long run, I will know every single problem known to mankind with it. So, till those times, we'll just keep recording. Come on back. Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.